Alex Rodriguez had always thought his life was pretty normal. He worked at a tech company, lived in a small apartment, and spent most weekends playing video games or watching movies. That Tuesday morning started like any other day until his phone rang with a number he didn't recognize. "Is this Alex Rodriguez?" asked a serious voice on the other end. "Yes, that's me. Who's calling?" "This is Robert Kim, attorney for the late Benjamin Walsh. I'm afraid I have some sad news. Your friend Benjamin passed away last week in a car accident." Alex felt his stomach drop. Ben had been his best friend since college. They'd stayed in touch even after Ben moved to that big house up in the mountains, always talking about his crazy experiments and stargazing hobby. Alex had been meaning to visit, but kept putting it off because of work. "I'm so sorry to hear this," Alex said, his voice shaking. "When is the funeral?" "The funeral was yesterday. But Mr. Walsh left specific instructions about you in his will. He's left you something very important, and I need you to come to his estate as soon as possible." Alex took the next day off work and drove 3 hours up winding mountain roads to Ben's place. He'd only been there once before, and it still amazed him how isolated it was. The house sat on 20 acres of forest, with Ben's homemade observatory, dome visible on a hill behind the main building. The lawyer met him at the front door. Robert Kim was a thin man in his 50s who looked like he hadn't slept well in days. As they walked through Ben's house, Alex noticed how quiet everything was. Ben had always been a bit of a loner, but seeing his empty home made Alex realize how alone his friend had really been. "Before we discuss the inheritance, I need to prepare you for something unusual," Robert said, stopping in the hallway. "What Mr. Walsh left you isn't money or property. It's a person. Well, not exactly a person, but—" He paused, looking uncomfortable. "Perhaps it's better if you meet her yourself." They walked to the back of the house, where a beautiful garden led to a small guest house. Through the window, Alex could see someone sitting by the fireplace. As they got closer, he realized it was a woman with long, dark hair reading a book. "Her name is Zara," Robert said quietly. "She's been living here for 3 years." When they entered the guest house, the woman looked up, and Alex felt his breath catch. She was absolutely beautiful, but there was something different about her that he couldn't quite place. Her eyes seemed to change color slightly in the light, shifting from deep green to gold. Her skin had a subtle glow, like she was lit from within. When she moved, it was with a grace that seemed almost too perfect. "You must be Alex," she said, and her voice had a musical quality that made him want to keep listening. "Ben talked about you often." Alex found himself staring and quickly looked away, embarrassed. "I'm sorry for your loss. Ben was a good friend." Zara's expression grew sad. "He was very kind to me. I don't know what I'll do without him." Robert cleared his throat. "Perhaps we should sit down and discuss the situation." As they settled into the comfortable chairs, Robert opened his briefcase and pulled out a thick folder. Mr. Walsh left detailed instructions about Zara's care. "She cannot return to her home, and she needs someone to look after her." "I don't understand," Alex said. "Is she sick? Does she need medical care?" "It's more complicated than that," Robert replied, looking at Zara. "Would you like to explain? Or should I?" Zara looked at Alex for a long moment, as if trying to decide whether to trust him. Finally, she spoke. "I'm not from Earth, Alex. I come from a planet very far away." Alex blinked, sure he'd heard wrong. "I'm sorry. What?" "I know it sounds impossible, but it's true. My home is in what you call the Kepler system. 3 years ago, my research ship had problems, and I crashed. Here, Ben found me and helped me heal." Alex looked back and forth between Zara and the lawyer. "This is some kind of joke, right?" Ben was always into science fiction. Robert shook his head. "I've been handling Ben's legal affairs for 10 years. I thought the same thing when I first met Zara. But I've seen things that convinced me. She's not human, Alex." As if to prove the point, Zara held out her hand, and Alex watched in amazement as her palm began to glow with a soft, warm light. The light grew brighter for a moment, then faded away. "My people have certain abilities that yours do not," she said simply. "We can create light, heal small injuries, and sense emotions. It's all very natural for us. Alex stared at her hand, his mind racing. This couldn't be real. Aliens didn't exist, and even if they did, they certainly didn't look like beautiful women who could make their hands glow. I know this is hard to believe, Zara continued. Ben didn't believe me at first, either. But over time, he learned to trust me. I hope you will too. Robert opened the folder and pulled out a letter written in Ben's handwriting. Your friend left this for you? Alex took the letter with shaking hands and began to read. Alex, if you're reading this, then I'm gone and you've met Zara. I know. This seems crazy, but everything she's telling you is true. She's from another world, and she's been stranded here since her ship crashed. I've spent 3 years trying to help her repair her communication systems, but the damage is too severe. She can't go home. I'm leaving her in your care because I trust you more than anyone else. She's not just beautiful, Alex. She's intelligent, kind, and lonely. She needs someone who will treat her with respect and help her build a life here on Earth. I know you'll do the right thing. Please don't let the government find her. There are people who would want to study her like a laboratory specimen. She deserves better than that. She deserves to be treated like the person she is. I've left enough money in an account to take care of both of you for several years. The account information is with Robert. Please, Alex, don't abandon her. She's been through enough. Your friend always. Ben. Alex set the letter down, his hands trembling. He looked at Zara, who was watching him with those strange, beautiful eyes. So, what happens now? He asked. That depends on you, Robert said, legally. You're not obligated to do anything. But Mr. Walsh hoped you would take Zara home with you and help her start a new life. Alex felt overwhelmed. This morning he'd been worried about a software bug at work. Now he was being asked to take care of an alien woman who looked like she belonged in a fashion magazine. I need some time to think, he said. Of course, Zara said softly. I understand this is difficult, but please know that I'm not dangerous. I would never hurt you or anyone else. My people are peaceful. Alex looked at her again. There was something in her expression that reminded him of a lost child. Despite everything impossible about this situation, he found himself wanting to help her. Okay? He said finally, I'll try. I don't know how this is going to work, but I'll try. For the first time since he arrived, Zara smiled. It was like watching the sun come up. Thank you. Alex, Ben was right about you. You have a good heart. As they prepared to leave Ben's house, Alex couldn't help but wonder what he'd gotten himself into. His quiet, normal life was about to become anything but normal. But looking at Zara as she carefully packed her few belongings, he realized that maybe normal was overrated anyway. The drive back to the city was going to be interesting, to say the least. The first week with Zara in Alex's apartment was like nothing he'd ever experienced. His small 2-bedroom place suddenly felt both too cramped and too empty at the same time. Zara had taken the spare room, but she spent most of her time sitting by the window, looking out at the busy city street with a worried expression. Are you okay? Alex asked one morning, finding her in the same spot where she'd been the night before. The noise, she said softly, pressing her hands to her temples. It never stops. And the feelings, there are so many people in there, all so angry or sad or scared. Alex sat down beside her, trying to understand. What do you mean by feelings? My people can sense emotions from others. It's how we communicate on my world. Everyone is peaceful there, so it's pleasant. But here, she gestured toward the window. It's like being in a storm of emotions all the time. That explained why she looked so tired. Alex had noticed she barely slept and often seemed overwhelmed by simple things, like going to the grocery store. Maybe we can find you some headphones, he suggested, to block out the noise. At least, Zara smiled at him gratefully. You're very kind, Alex. Ben was right about you. As the days passed, Alex began to learn more about Zara's world. Her planet was called Kepler-4 to be, and her people lived in harmony with nature. They didn't have cities like Earth did. Instead, they lived in small communities surrounded by forests and clean rivers. We don't use metal machines like you do, She explained one evening as they ate dinner. Everything we create is grown or shaped from living things. Our ships are part biological, part crystal formations that we nurture over many years. That's why you couldn't fix yours. Alex realized you need the right plants and crystals exactly. And those things don't exist on Earth. Alex found himself fascinated by her stories. She told him about cities that grew like trees, with houses that were actually living organisms that provided warmth and light. She described foods that change flavor based on your mood and rivers that sang different melodies depending on the season. It sounds beautiful, Alex said. Do you miss it? Zara's expression grew sad. Every day. But I'm learning to appreciate Earth too. Your world is so full of passion. Everything here burns bright, even if it burns fast. As the weeks went by, Alex began to see his own world through Zara's eyes. She was amazed by things he'd never really noticed before. The way rain looked against the window. Glass. How different types of music could make people feel completely different emotions. The incredible variety of foods available in a single grocery store. On my world, we eat mostly the same things, she told him as they walked through the produce section. But here, you have fruits from all over your planet. It's like a treasure chest of flavors. Alex watched her carefully examine an orange, holding it up to the light as if it contained secrets. When she finally tasted it, her face lit up with wonder. It's like sunshine, she said. But tangy. How do you describe tangy to someone who's never tasted it? Her enthusiasm was infectious. Alex found himself trying foods he'd never bothered with before. Seeing them through her eyes, everything seemed more interesting when Zara was around. But it wasn't just her perspective that amazed him. Zara had abilities that seemed impossible. One evening, Alex came home with a headache from a stressful day at work. Without thinking, he mentioned it to Zara. May I? She asked, gesturing toward his head. Before he could ask what she meant, she placed her hands gently on his temples. Alex felt a warm, tingling sensation, and within seconds, his headache was completely gone. How did you do that? He asked, staring at her in amazement. It's a simple healing touch, she said, as if it was the most natural thing in the world. We all learn it as children. I can only help with small things like headaches or cuts. Nothing serious. Another time, Alex was struggling with a complex coding problem at work. He'd been staring at the computer screen for hours, trying to find the bug in his program. When he got home, he was frustrated and tired. Tell me about your problem, Zara said, sitting down beside him on the couch. Alex explained the issue, not really expecting her to understand. But as he talked, Zara asked questions that made him think about the problem in completely new ways. On my world, when something isn't working, we don't just look at the broken part, she said. We look at how it connects to everything else. Maybe your problem isn't in the code you're staring at. Maybe it's in how that code talks to the other parts. The next day, Alex tried her approach and found the bug within minutes. It had been in a completely different section of the program. Just like she'd suggested. You're brilliant, he told her that evening. Have you ever thought about getting a job here? Zara laughed, a sound that always made Alex feel happier. I don't think Earth is ready for alien employees yet, but I like helping you with your work. As time went on, Alex began to realize that Zara wasn't just adjusting to Earth life. She was making his life better in ways he'd never expected. She cooked amazing meals using combinations of ingredients he'd never thought to try. She helped him organize his apartment in ways that made everything more peaceful and efficient. Most importantly, she listened to him. Really listened. Alex had never had someone pay such complete attention to what he was saying. Zara seemed genuinely interested in his thoughts, his dreams, his fears. On my world, we believe that every person carries a piece of the universe's wisdom, she told him one night as they sat on his small balcony, looking up at the stars. To ignore someone's thoughts is to lose that wisdom forever. That's beautiful, Alex said. I wish more people on Earth thought that way. Maybe they do, Zara said softly. Maybe they just forget. Sometimes, Alex was beginning to understand that Zara wasn't just beautiful on the outside. She had a way of seeing the good in everything, even when things seemed hopeless. When his elderly neighbor Mrs. Chen complained about her arthritis, Zara quietly helped her with her grocery shopping. When the teenage boy downstairs was having trouble with his homework, Zara somehow convinced Alex to help him with math. "You're changing me," Alex told her one evening. "Making me a better person." "No," Zara said, shaking her head. "I'm just helping you remember who you already are. Ben saw it in you. That's why he trusted you with me." 6 months had passed since that shocking day at Ben's house. Alex's life had transformed completely. He looked forward to coming home each day, knowing Zara would be there with her gentle smile and endless curiosity about the world. But more than that, he was beginning to feel something he'd never experienced before. Something that scared him because it was so powerful and so impossible. He was falling in love with an alien woman who might have to leave Earth at any moment. And the scariest part was that he was pretty sure she was falling in love with him too. 8 months had passed since Zara came into Alex's life, and everything felt different now. What started as helping a friend had grown into something much deeper. Alex found himself thinking about her constantly at work, rushing home just to see her smile, and lying awake at night wondering if she felt the same way about him. The moment he realized he was completely in love with her came on a rainy Thursday evening. Alex had been stuck in traffic for an hour, frustrated and tired. When he finally opened his apartment door, he found Zara in the kitchen, humming softly while making dinner. She looked up and smiled, and suddenly all his stress melted away. "Bad date?" she asked, and before he could answer, she was beside him, her hand gently touching his arm. That warm, healing sensation spread through him. But this time it wasn't just physical comfort. It was something deeper. "Better now," he said, and meant it completely. That night, as they sat on the couch watching an old movie, Zara leaned against him. Alex felt his heart racing, but he didn't move away. Instead, he put his arm around her, and she settled closer to him with a contented sigh. "Alex," she said softly, not looking at him, "I need to tell you something." His heart jumped. "What is it?" "My people, we don't experience emotions the same way humans do. We feel things more intensely, but also more purely. When we form a bond with someone, it's very deep and very permanent." Alex wasn't sure what she was trying to say. "Okay? What I'm feeling for you," she continued, still not meeting his eyes. "It's not something that will fade or change. If I allow myself to love you, it will be forever." The word love hung in the air between them. Alex felt like he could barely breathe. "And if I told you I felt the same way?" he asked quietly. Finally, she looked at him, and he saw something vulnerable and hopeful in her expression. "Then I would ask if you're sure. Because once we cross this line, there's no going back." Not for me. Alex thought about his life before. Zara, the loneliness, the routine, the feeling that nothing really mattered. Then he thought about the past 8 months, how she made him laugh, made him think, made him want to be a better person. How coming home to her had become the best part of every day. "I'm sure," he said, and leaned down to kiss her. The kiss was gentle at first, then deeper. Zara's skin seemed to glow faintly in the dim light, and Alex felt that tingling sensation again, but stronger. It was like electricity running through his veins, connecting them in a way that felt both magical and completely natural. When they finally pulled apart, both of them were breathing hard. "I love you," Alex said, the words coming out easier than he'd expected. "I love you too," Zara replied, and the way she said it made it sound like a promise. The next few weeks were the happiest of Alex's life. He and Zara spent every free moment together, talking, laughing, exploring the city. She showed him how to see beauty in ordinary things, and he showed her human traditions and culture. They cooked together, watched movies, and spent hours just talking about everything and nothing. But their happiness was about to be tested in ways they couldn't imagine. It started with small things. Alex noticed a black car parked across from their building that hadn't been there before. The same car was there for several days in a row. Then he started getting strange phone calls at work. People asking vague questions about his personal life and hanging up when he asked who they were. I think someone might be watching us. He told Zara one evening. Her face went pale. What kind of someone? I don't know. Maybe it's nothing. But he told her about the car and the phone calls. Zara stood up abruptly and walked to the window, peering through the blinds. Alex, we need to be very careful. There are people who would want to study me if they knew what I was. What do you mean, study you? Like a specimen in a laboratory? Ben warned me about this. He said there are government programs that look for things like me. Alex felt a chill run down his spine. You think that's what this is? I hope not. But my presence here creates certain effects. Electronics sometimes behave strangely around me. Plants grow faster. Animals are drawn to me. If someone has been monitoring those kinds of anomalies. As if on cue, Alex's phone started acting up, the screen flickering and showing random symbols instead of normal text. Zara touched the phone gently, and it immediately returned to normal. That's been happening more often lately, Alex realized. I thought it was just an old phone. No, Zara said quietly, it's me. As I've gotten more comfortable here, more emotionally open, my natural energy has been increasing. I've been trying to control it, but when I'm happy or upset, it gets stronger. That night, Alex barely slept. He kept thinking about what Zara had said. The idea of someone taking her away, of treating her like a thing instead of a person, made him feel sick. The next morning, the situation got worse. Alex's neighbor, Mrs. Chen, knocked on his door looking worried. Alex, there were some people asking questions about you yesterday, she said. They said they were from the government, but they seemed very interested in your girlfriend. They asked if she was foreign, if she had an accent, if I'd noticed anything unusual about her. Alex's heart sank. What did you tell them? I said. She was a lovely girl and minded her own business. But Alex, they seemed very serious. Maybe you should be careful. When Alex told Zara what Mrs. Chen had said, she started pacing the apartment like a caged animal. This is bad, she said. If they're asking questions, they already suspect something. We need to think about what we're going to do. What do you mean? I might have to leave, Alex. I might have to disappear before they find solid proof of what I am. The thought of losing her hit Alex like a physical blow. No, there has to be another way. Like what? I can't exactly blend in if they're really looking for me. My abilities, my reactions to things. The way electronics behave around me, if they're trained to look for signs of alien life. They'll find them. Alex pulled her into his arms. Feeling desperate, we'll figure something out. We have to. But even as he said it, he wondered if they really could. How do you fight the government? How do you protect someone who wasn't supposed to exist? That evening, as they sat together on the couch, Zara suddenly went very still. Her eyes widened, and she grabbed Alex's hand. What is it? He asked. I'm getting a signal, she whispered. From my ship, the communication system. It's been slowly repairing itself all this time. It's weak, but it's there. Alex felt a mix of hope and fear. What kind of signal? I think it's a distress beacon. It might be trying to reach my homeworld. They stared at each other, both understanding what this meant. If Zara's people received the signal, they might send a rescue ship, but they might also attract the attention of whoever was watching them. How long before your people could get here? Alex asked. If they even received the signal? Years. Maybe. Space travel takes time, even with our technology. But as they held each other that night, both of them knew their time was running out. The Watchers were getting closer, and Zara's ship was broadcasting a signal that could bring help or disaster. Either way, their peaceful life together was about to end. The question was, would they face whatever came next together, or would they be torn apart by forces beyond their control? The worst day of Alex's life started like any other Tuesday. He kissed Zara goodbye before leaving for work, promising to pick up groceries on the way home. She smiled and told him to be careful, the same thing she said every morning. Neither of them knew it would be the last normal moment they'd share for a long time. Alex was in the middle of a team meeting when his phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Your girlfriend is safe. Don't do anything stupid if you want to keep it that way. His blood turned to ice. He excused himself from the meeting and called Zara's phone immediately. It went straight to voicemail. He tried again. Same thing. Please be okay. Please be okay, he whispered as he grabbed his jacket and ran for the elevator. The drive home took forever. Every red light felt like torture. When Alex finally reached his building, he saw what he'd been dreading: government. Vehicles parked outside, and neighbors standing around looking worried and confused. Mrs. Chen was crying on the sidewalk. When she saw Alex, she hurried over to him. They took her, she said, grabbing his arm. Men in black suits. They had some kind of warrant. Zara tried to run, but she shook her head. Alex, there was this bright light from your apartment window. The whole building's power went out for a few minutes. Alex felt like he couldn't breathe. How long ago? Maybe an hour. I'm so sorry, Alex. I tried to tell them she was a good girl, but they wouldn't listen. Alex ran up to his apartment, even though he knew what he'd find. The door was off its hinges. Everything inside had been searched and turned upside down. Zara's few belongings were gone. The place felt empty and cold without her. He sat down on his couch, the same couch where they'd shared their first kiss just weeks ago, and tried to think. Where would they take her? How could he find her? How could he possibly get her back? His phone rang. A known number again? Hello, Alex, said a woman's voice. My name is Dr. Lisa Park. I work for a government research facility, and I have your friend. If you hurt her, I'm not going to hurt her, Dr. Park interrupted. In fact, I'm calling because I need your help. Zara is not responding well to being here. She won't eat, won't speak to anyone. I think she's making herself sick. Alex felt a surge of anger. Of course she's sick. You kidnapped her. We're trying to understand what she is, Dr. Park said calmly. She's clearly not human, but she's also clearly intelligent and peaceful. That makes this situation very delicate. She's a person, Alex said firmly. Her name is Zara. She likes strawberry ice cream and old movies, and she's the kindest person I've ever met. She's not a what, she's a who. There was a pause. Alex, I'd like you to come and talk to her. Maybe you can convince her to cooperate with us, so you can study her like a lab rat? Never. So we can understand her and figure out what to do next, Dr. Park said. Look, I know you don't trust me, but I'm not the villain here. There are others in my organization who would handle this very differently. Zara needs an advocate, and right now, that's me. But I need her to help herself. Alex thought about it. It could be a trap, but if there was any chance of seeing Zara, he had to take it. 2 hours later, Alex found himself in a white government facility that looked exactly like every scary movie about secret labs. Dr. Park met him at the entrance. She was younger than he'd expected, maybe 40, with kind eyes behind thick glasses. Before you see her, I need you to understand something, Dr. Park said as they walked down a long corridor. Zara has abilities we've never encountered before. When she gets emotional, she can affect electronic systems and even create light. When she was brought in, she was scared and upset, and she accidentally caused a power surge that knocked out half our equipment. She didn't mean to hurt anyone, Alex said quickly. I know. That's what convinced me she's not dangerous. Someone with hostile intentions would have used those abilities as weapons. She was just frightened. They stopped outside a door with a small window. Alex looked through and felt his heart break. Zara was sitting on a simple bed in what looked like a comfortable but clearly secure room. She looked smaller somehow and sadder than he'd ever seen her. She's been like this since she arrived, Dr. Park said quietly. She answered a few basic questions, confirmed that she's not from Earth, but that's all. She won't tell us about her planet or her people or how she got here, because she doesn't trust you, Alex said. Would you? Dr. Park nodded. Fair point, Alex. Before you go in there, I need to tell you something else. About an hour ago, we detected a signal coming from somewhere in the mountains. It's not from any Earth technology. We think it might be connected to her. Alex remembered what Zara had told him about her ship's distress beacon. What kind of signal? We're not sure, but if it's what I think it is, then Zara might not be stranded here much longer. They opened the door, and Zara looked up when she saw Alex. Her face lit up for the first time since he'd arrived. Alex, she jumped up and ran into his arms for a moment. He forgot where they were and just held her tight. Are you okay? Did they hurt you? No? They've been a decent. But Alex, I'm scared. They want to know things about my people, about our technology. What if they use the information to hurt someone? Dr. Park stepped forward. Zara, I give you my word that we're not interested in weapons or invasion plans. We just want to understand. This is the first time in human history that we've had contact with an intelligent alien species. Can you imagine how important this is? Zara looked at her skeptically. On my world, we've been watching Earth for a very long time. We know how humans react to things they don't understand. You study them, cage them, or destroy them. Some humans do that, Dr. Park admitted, but others try to learn and grow. I'm one of the second kind. Over the next hour, Alex watched as Dr. Park patiently earned Zara's trust. She showed Zara that her room wasn't locked, that she could leave any time she wanted. She brought her food from the cafeteria and sat with her while she ate. Most importantly, she listened when Zara talked about her planet and her people. We're explorers, Zara explained. We travel between worlds to study different forms of life, not to conquer or control, just to learn. I was on a research mission when my ship malfunctioned, and the signal we're detecting. Dr. Park asked. Zara looked at Alex, then back at Dr. Park. My ship has been slowly repairing its communication system. If it's finally working, then yes. It's probably sending a distress call to my people. How long before they respond? I don't know. Maybe years, maybe never, if the signal isn't strong enough to reach them. But even as she said it, Alex could see in her eyes that she was hoping for rescue. The question was, what would happen to them if her people did come? Dr. Park seemed to be thinking the same thing. Zara, if your people do come for you, what will you tell them about Earth, about humans? Zara looked at Alex, and he saw love and sadness in her expression. I'll tell them that some humans are kind and brave and worth knowing. I'll tell them about Alex and Ben and Mrs. Chen and even you, Dr. Park. But you'll still leave with them, Alex said quietly. Zara's eyes filled with tears. I don't know. My people are dying, Alex. There's a sickness on my world that we don't know how to cure. If they've come all this way for me, it means they need my help. Alex felt his heart breaking all over again. He thought the worst thing that could happen was losing Zara to the government. He'd never considered that he might lose her to her own people's needs. Then we'll figure it out when the time comes, he said, taking her hand. Whatever happens, we'll face it together. Dr. Park watched them with a thoughtful expression. Actually, she said slowly, I might have an idea about that. 3 months later, Alex stood on a hilltop outside the city, watching the most incredible sight he'd ever seen. A ship unlike anything from Earth was descending slowly through the clouds. It didn't look like the metal rockets humans built. Instead, it seemed alive, with a surface that shifted and glowed like it was breathing. That's them, Zara whispered beside him, tears streaming down her face. My people have come for me. Dr. Park stood nearby with a small team, but they kept their distance. Over the past 3 months, she kept her promise to help. Instead of treating Zara like a prisoner, she worked with her to understand both human and alien biology together. They made discoveries that could help both species. But now the moment of truth had arrived. The ship landed gently in the field below them, and a doorway opened that seemed to melt into existence rather than sliding open mechanically. Two figures emerged, and even from a distance, Alex could see they had the same otherworldly grace as Zara. My sister Kira, Zara said, pointing to the taller figure, and that's Dr. Wren, our chief medical researcher. They walked down the hill together, Alex's heart pounding with every step. Everything was about to change, and he didn't know if it would be for better or worse. Kira looked like an older version of Zara, with the same beautiful features but eyes that held more sadness. When she saw Zara, she broke into a run and swept her into a hug. "Little sister," she said in accented English, "we thought we'd lost you forever." "I'm alive because of these people," Zara replied, gesturing to Alex and Dr. Park. "Kira, this is Alex. He's the one I told you about in my messages." Kira looked at Alex with curious eyes that seemed to see right through him. "So you're the human who stole my sister's heart?" Alex felt his face turn red. We. But Kira smiled. "It's a good thing, Alex Rodriguez. Zara's never been happier, even trapped on a strange world. That says much about you." Dr. Wren was more serious. He looked older, with silver streaks in his dark hair and worry lines around his eyes. "Zara, we need you to come home. The sickness has spread. We've lost 12% of our population, and we can't find a cure." Zara's face went pale. 12%? How is that possible? "It attacks our nervous system," Dr. Wren explained. "The same sensitivity that lets us heal and sense emotions makes us vulnerable to this disease. We've tried everything, but nothing works." Alex watched Zara struggle with the news. He could see how much she wanted to help her people, but he also saw her looking at him with anguish. "There might be another way," Dr. Park said, stepping forward. "For the past 3 months, Zara and I have been studying the differences between human and her people's biology. We think we might have found something." Dr. Wren looked skeptical. "Humans are primitive compared to us medically, maybe," Dr. Park said calmly. "But we're also more resistant to certain types of diseases. Our emotions are messier. But that chaos might be protection." Alex has been exposed to Zara's energy for almost a year now. "We've been studying his blood, and we've found antibodies that don't exist in normal humans." Alex stared at her. "You've been studying my blood. With your permission," Dr. Park said quickly. "Those blood tests I asked you to take for routine health checks, they were anything but routine. Alex, being close to Zara has changed you on a cellular level. And those changes might be the key to curing her people's disease." Zara's eyes widened. "You mean?" "I mean Alex might need to come with you," Dr. Park said. "Not just because you love him, but because he might be the cure your people need." The silence that followed was deafening. Alex felt like the world had shifted under his feet. "That's impossible," Dr. Wren said finally. "Humans can't survive the journey to our world. The radiation in space alone would kill him." "Not necessarily," Kira said thoughtfully. "Our ships have protective systems, and if Alex has already been changed by exposure to our energy." She looked at her sister. "Zara, you've been sharing your life force with him, haven't you?" Zara nodded, looking embarrassed. "I couldn't help it. When you love someone, it's natural to want to protect them, to make them stronger." "Which means he's already partially adapted to our biology," Kira said. "It could work." Alex's head was spinning. "Wait, are you saying I could actually go with her to another planet? It would be dangerous," Dr. Wren warned. "Even if you survived the journey, you'd be the only human on a world completely different from Earth. The gravity, the atmosphere, the food, everything would be alien to you." "But Zara survived on Earth," Alex pointed out. "Barely," Zara said softly. "And I had Ben to help me, then you'd have me." "But Alex, I can't ask you to give up your entire world." Alex looked around at the group of people who had somehow become central to his life. Dr. Park, who had risked her career to help them. Kira, who clearly loved her sister deeply. Dr. Wren, who was trying to save his dying people. And Zara, the woman who had changed everything about how he saw the universe. "What kind of life would I have here without you?" he asked Zara. "You said once that when your people love someone, it's forever. Well, humans can feel that way too. But your family, your friends, your job. My parents died years ago. I don't have many close friends, and my job." Alex laughed. "I can code anywhere, even on an alien planet, if you have computers." "We do," Kira said with a smile. "Very different from yours. But yes," Dr. Park stepped forward. "There's one more thing to consider. If this works, if Alex's adapted biology can help cure the disease, then this isn't just about love. This could be the beginning of a real partnership between our species." "What do you mean?" Zara asked. I mean, maybe Alex doesn't have to choose between Earth and your world. Maybe he can be a bridge between them, help your people, then come back and help us prepare for official contact. Dr. Wren looked intrigued. You would want formal relations with Earth. Not now, Dr. Park said honestly. We're not ready. But someday, maybe, and when that day comes, having people who understand both worlds could make all the difference. Alex felt a surge of excitement. So I wouldn't be giving up Earth forever. The journey takes 2 of your years each way. Kira explained. You'd be gone for at least 6 years, maybe longer if the research takes time. But if Dr. Park is right, you could come back as an ambassador. Zara was crying now, but they looked like happy tears. Alex, are you sure? Really sure? Alex took her hands and looked into her beautiful, alien eyes. Zara, you gave up your entire world when you crashed here. You adapted to our strange customs, our noisy cities, our complicated emotions. If you can do that, then I can learn to live on your peaceful planet with people who think love is the most important thing in the universe. It is the most important thing, she said, standing on her toes to kiss him. As they kissed, Alex felt that familiar tingle of her alien energy, but this time it felt different, stronger, like she was sharing more of herself with him, preparing him for the journey ahead. So it's decided? Kira asked, grinning. Alex looked around one more time at the world he'd grown up in, the world where he'd been lonely and bored until an alien woman crashed into his life and showed him what love could really be. It's decided, he said. 2 weeks later, Alex stood in the same field, this time carrying a small bag with everything he wanted to take from Earth. Dr. Park had helped him record video messages for Mrs. Chen and his co-workers. He donated his apartment to a family in need and given his car to the teenager downstairs, who had helped them so much. Ready? Zara asked, taking his hand. Alex looked back at Earth one more time, then up at the stars where his new life waited. Ready, he said. As they walked toward the ship together, Alex realized that sometimes the greatest adventures begin not with a dramatic choice, but with a simple decision to follow your heart, no matter where it leads, even if it leads to another world entirely.